People demanded Japan join other advanced nations in legally recognizing same-sex marriage.
手術するかどうかは、トランスジェンダー本人が考えることで、それは、書類上の性別記載の変更とは別であるべきです。
What's it like, sexual minority in Japan? Can you describe?
It doesn't really have diversity in this country.
Japan, a country known for its futuristic tech, captivating culture, and hospitable nature, excels in a variety of different avenues. But when it comes to a flag with a bunch of colors on it, they're not great. From a prehistoric ideology of marriage, the progressive bills that move the needle as much as a cow can move its spots, and the antiquated laws that make it nearly impossible to showcase one's true identity and sexual orientation. It's hard-pressed to think why anyone from the LGBTQ+ community would want to live here. Yet, our newest neighbor Emily has found a way. Living in Japan for over 3 years, Emily decided on making Japan her permanent home despite all the challenges. In this episode, we find out how trans people are viewed in Japan, why someone would want to live in a country with such limited freedoms, the medical side to being trans, and how to find joy in a place where you can express your authentic self. Hey there, neighbors! Welcome to A Neighbor's Tale, where we meet incredible people, hear their stories, and hope it helps you in the process. Let's meet our newest neighbor, Emily. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
Can you give a brief description of yourself?
I'm from Florida in the US. I like being outdoors. I'm an English teacher in Japan. I've been here for 3 years in Fukushima.
How are you perceived here as trans?
Japanese people just don't like to make assumptions, so it just doesn't come up in the work environment.
Got you. Okay.
It's not as big of a conversation in Japan, whereas in the US, because of certain people in the media, it's a huge deal and a threat to everybody. So it's constantly sort of being discussed.
Because of the state of being trans, being gay, queer, whatever, in Japan, and just the lack of inclusiveness that you would get from being cis. Does that sort of in the far recesses of your mind create sort of a shelf life of living here?
Kind of the opposite, actually.
Okay.
If I move back to the US, by existing, I have to live an activist life, which is good. I love like being that person who speaks out and participates in social change. But also it's very exhausting. Being part of the LGBTQ community in the US, it is in my best interest to speak of my situation. It's not something as a trans person that I can opt out of. Whereas in Japan, I have a choice. I can exist separately from having to speak out and having to try to enact social change. Partially because the conversation's just not really being had in Japan currently. And partially because in Japan I'm an outsider, which is kind of a depressing way to look at it, I guess. In that even when that conversation is had, I won't really have a voice in it. I look at the US as more of a temporary place to be because of how exhausting it is.
Hospital visits and medical treatment.
Before I came to Japan, I had everything I wanted in order. So I really just needed to find a doctor who would continue to prescribe my prescription. And I did luck out in finding a doctor that will do that. The kind of quintessential trans slogan is, your mileage may vary.
What about therapists? Have you been seeing a therapist, or did you stop seeing them when you came here? Have you had to challenge finding one?
So technically the doctor who I see is a therapist. Japan has this weird thing where doctors don't prescribe your endocrinology medicine, but psychiatrists do.
Okie dokie.
So, yes. No? I don't know.
Okay.
Japan's not like totally... They don't have the medical. They don't really. They're working on it.
What is joy for you?
Having the flexibility to make spontaneous decisions.
Here's your opportunity to speak to the neighborhood.
Don't be an asshole. No,
No, too late.
I want to elaborate on that. More specifically, be nice to people and cut people slack. Everybody's just kind of like figuring things out as they go. No one really knows what they're doing.
Hell
So
yeah.
like, take it easy on people. Life doesn't have to be a competition. You don't have to win. You know, just like be nice to people.
That is it with A Neighbor's Tale. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Always helps the channel. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. And as Diego Ramirez once said, very keen to what you had said, don't be a dick.
Oh yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Words to live by. We don't want to steal your kids or sacrifice them to demons. We don't have any dark sexual urges or anything. It's just